Hi kids, you already know me. I just wanted to make a YouTube video for you so that you could do your homework for the weekend. So I sent home this weekend homework packet. It has an excerpt from every lesson that we did in Go Math this week. The first one I want to go over is 5.5. It is the one on decimal division. And the example problem says 1 8/10 divided by 3/10. So I'm going to show you that with the blocks first. We've got 1. Remember that we're representing one whole with these blue flat ones. Remember, these are the flats. They're 1. And then the longs are tenths because it takes 10 of them to make one whole. And then these little blocks are the hundredths. And it takes 100 of these to make one whole. So that's why they're called a hundredth. So I made a two-dimensional picture of 1 8/10 here for you. So this is actually 2 hundredths grids, but this one is completely filled out. So it's a whole, it represents one whole, and this one represents 8/10. So each of these lines is 10 hundredths. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So on 5.5, in the example problem, it's asking you to break these 18 tenths, okay, because 10 tenths plus 8 tenths is 18 tenths, okay, we write it 1.8. But another way to think of it is that it's just 18 of these little long tenths. And this is my model of those 18 tenths. This is 1 8/10 broken up into groups of 3/10. So each of these groups has 1, 2, 3/10. How many groups of 3/10 do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1.8 divided by 3/10 equals 6. This is another way to look at it. You can just do the algorithm, which is going to be in one of the future lessons that we're going to do. But to do these problems, all you have to do is change these into whole numbers by moving the decimal place over 1. Because they're both tenths, it's really easy. So we can make this into 18 divided by 3. Well, what we really are doing is saying 18 tenths divided by 3/10, but we don't need that decimal there because the answer will come out the same. If I move the decimal place the same amount of times in the dividend and in the divisor, the answer will always come out the same. So I can just do 18 divided by 3 equals 6. So all of the problems on 5.5, I'd like you to know how to do the models, but they're very easy because you can just take out the decimal and say 27, like number 3, you can say 27 divided by 3. Well, we should all know what 27 divided by 3 is, right? Number 1 here, the very first one, is just 1.4 divided by 7/10. You can remove those decimals and just say 14 divided by 7 equals 2. Okay, and it will look like this. This is my model of 14/10. See, altogether I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this group and 7 in this group. Okay, so 14/10 or 1.4 divided into groups of 7/10 equals 2. So that is going to be the way you do all of those problems. So I'll just look at number 2 with you. 15 hundredths, because that's going to be hundredths, right? It's not tenths, but it's the exact same principle. 15 hundredths divided by 3 hundredths is just going to be the same as 15 divided by 3, because you can move the decimals over twice in both numbers, and if you move them over the same amount of times in the divisor and the dividend, you'll end up with the same answer that you would have gotten dividing with the decimal there.